Good morning. It is a casual day for us in Big Bend. So we are going to be repeating some of the trails that we like in the park and just kind of leisurely taking our time. Tomorrow we are heading out to backpack, and so this morning we got our permit for that. And we have to go cache some water, so like store water in a container on the far side of our hike so that we don't have to carry 4 gallons worth of water with us the entire time, just about 2 gallons each day. So this morning we are hiking out at the Grapevine Hills Trailhead, which sometimes people refer to as Balanced Rock. And I'll show you that when we get to the end of it. It's a really, really lovely 2-mile hike, mile out and back. Pretty easy for the first like 9/10 of a mile, and then the last bit is a scramble. I really love it out here. And then this is where things get really interesting. So we're on our way down from the Balanced Rock viewpoint area, and just thinking back about how much we really like this hike. It's a kind of a rough road to get here. You don't really need high clearance, but you really do have to be super cautious, and I don't think a low riding sedan or van really has any business coming down the road. Our Subaru was able to do it a couple years ago, and our 4Runner had no problem today. But just a heads up that the road is pretty difficult to access. The hike is pretty flat for the first 3/4 of a mile through a canyon, but it's this really interesting canyon or like valley between jumbled rocks. Kind of feels like Joshua Tree a little bit. So it's just, the hike is on sand, it's fairly flat, and then the last 1/4 mile is a scramble up to the Balanced Rock itself. If you are with family who has different levels of ability, you could certainly have some people stop at the bottom of that scramble and other people go on up, and it would still be a really enjoyable experience out here. As with most hikes in Big Bend, it is exposed. It's short hikes, so you don't really need to bring a ton of water, but you should have some, especially if you might have physical abilities that slow you down. Well, we are on our way to cache some water at the intersection of the Dodson and Juniper Canyon trails, and we are just having a grand old time back here on pretty rough roads. Great views of the mountains in every direction where we're going, but as you can tell, it is the kind of road that you legitimately need a 4-wheel drive vehicle on. Well, we've made it to our water cache. It took us about 50 minutes to get here, 18 miles. So that's exciting. 18 miles from the ranger station, most of which were on dirt road. And now we are checking out the trail that we will hike tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get here tomorrow. So we are headed off on our second hike of the day. This hike is out to the Upper Burro Mesa Pouroff. This is the second time we've done this hike, and it was one of our favorites in Big Bend the last time we were here, so we wanted to see it again. Looks like it's going to be about 3.6 miles round trip, and there were two other cars at the parking lot when we started, so it's not a terribly busy or popular hike. The occupants of one vehicle we just passed, and then we actually started with another hiker who said she was going to be a bit behind us and move slower. So hopefully we'll have the end to ourselves for a few minutes. It's really cool. I can't wait to show you what it looks like. The hike itself is actually pretty boring at first. Like, we're just heading out into what seems like really uninteresting and unimpressive terrain. But eventually we should drop down into a canyon that will start getting more and more interesting as we hike through it. We are about 0.4 miles into the hike, and we are starting to enter the canyon. It's still really mild and relatively open now, but you can tell a big difference from the open terrain we were hiking in earlier. After walking in the wash for about half a mile to 3/4 of a mile, you start having the walls really come in and get tall. Don't remember how long this lasts, but I remember it from our first hike. I really like this section. This is it. It's the chamber at the end of Upper Burro Mesa Wash. It's this really cool round room that's open, and then it takes you right to the top of a very big dry fall. You can actually take a different trail to hike to the bottom of it.